All right, let's go ahead and take another trip on back into the fog here. Starting on the Wrecker's Yard. Going to be seeing Boltar here out on the Spirit for our... Oh, I thought we had found someone already. Already found someone actually in our corrupt side of our map. This is going to be big because we want to get these hook states started early. We had talked about kind of in the campfire chat, right? This being a very small map. So if you can get it down, especially here while you still have more than a minute left of the corrupt intervention, we see with the mind game around the pallet, not going to be able to get the M1. But if you're able to get yourself it down here, this would be big. However, we see right now our survivor doing a good job of at least maintaining this chase in the corrupt area. So maybe our survivors can start attacking these gens.
Yeah, this first chase is always really crucial, right? And our survivor's doing a really good job here so far. We now see the switch to another survivor here, trying also to scout these generators and interrupting them. We don't see a Hex Rune. That's an interesting choice for a Spirit. Sometimes that's really something you want to put up here, but considering that the Hex Totem can also be cleansed quite quickly, wow. We see a choice of safety here, and that's going to be generator number 1, less than 80 seconds into the trial, so potentially a double up here. And meanwhile, a nice Vault coming in and mind game as well from our Nia here at the Funbus. So doing a phenomenal job so far. Corrupt intervention expiring really, really soon here with no injuries so far into the match here.
Yeah, this is, I mean, really big right now. Our survivor's doing a fantastic job. Here we are at this point, though. Boltar is at least able to start getting the ball rolling. We've got our first entered state. The one thing that I am concerned about, though, since we did start chase with only one survivor move over here, we might at least be seeing generator number 2 popping off here soon. But I'm worried that we might not even get our first down before we see generator number 3, which could be putting Boltar in a little bit of a tough situation here.
Yeah, it's going to be rough, right? You want that first down as quick as possible. Now you lost another generator. This is the down you're looking for. Your pressure is going to be started, but the question is, what is the real price? How many survivors have already rotated over to potentially attack another generator? 2 of them are positioning next to the hook here, so they can take care about the unhook, even though one of them is getting located. This is going to be the pop goes to Weasel kick here. 25% being taken from this centered generator and a perfectly timed unhook while the killer was busy with the generator, but Nia not with the most distance. Fallen Art needs to make a good move here, is forced to go into a mind game. Boltar is now going to wait at the window here. Mind games coming out once again. Pallet is being dropped, and do you find the right side? No, you will not. So this is going to be distance for Zara. We can see the nodding as well, so the panic and the pressure is definitely rising here.
Yeah, I mean, right now, especially as we do see Nia should be able to make it towards this pallet as well. This is, going into the phase walk, baiting the play. We're going to be seeing, I actually think on the other side of the pallet, that's going to be the down here at this point. This is going to be at least back up onto the shoulder we go. I can't help but wonder, though, how close we are to seeing our third generator pop. We see this one's around 75. We also have another generator already close to 50. Wow. We also have someone already set up for the save here as well. I'm not sure if our Spirit happened to notice that. We're at least going to be applying the pop goes the Weasel to this generator here. 25% instant regression. Quickly going to be going back across the way. There's that for the people that you had brought up that we're starting to see more here as far as in the meta. Instead, though, still shifting, staying onto the Nia here. It does mean it's going to have at least cause 2 entered states to be able to at least get the down, so it causes this chase to be a little bit longer. Hopefully our survivors can get a gen or 2 in exchange for it.
Yeah, this is going to be a very crucial moment, right? Because if you decide to go for the 3v1 and the elimination here, you need to get that done before we are going into endgame. Otherwise, the price would be too high, but the price is high anyway as 2 generators are getting completed here. The question is, what about generator number 5? It's right here, has a ton of progress here. What a beautiful pressure by Trauma coming out with just on point with the efficiency here, and we are going all the way into the edge of the map. And now we see the rotation over to the Ace going back on to collecting the points here. So we are trying to get the fresh points in, and I do think that is also a sign of realization that the tunnel out was not going to work out here. And now it comes down to the question, how many points before endgame?
Yeah, this is gonna be tough here. I mean, it seems like I understand the want to break away and get some other points, but a little bit of indecision here has kind of really caused our survivors to be able to snowball this pressure back. We see resets across the way, 2 different survivors. I would not be surprised to be seeing our ace being here shortly as well. We also know you had talked about that generator over at the Pride Rock has a whole bunch of progress in it. Now going to be seeing the tag onto the Quinton, but there it is. Generator number 5 now popping. You're also going to notice that haste status effect. Of course, we do notice that Noed is still active as well. There's going to be the down, but how much value do you really get, right? That survivor was already injured. We are going to see our survivors across the way already starting to prep the door. We've got this door just about ready to go.
Just a very, very impressive performance here from the Survivor team, right? And we talked about set number 1 being so important here for the entire match, and Trauma is coming out and puts the performance up that should leave Boleta with a Trauma, because this was just so much of a performance here, and the efficiency so beautiful. And it seems like the Survivors are not even panicking too much, even though there is no one escapes death in the trial here. It is going to be the Deliverance paired with the decisive strike as well, and it's going to be the big Q.
No, he slaps him with the D, and we might be seeing a hatch play here. We have 1 player out. Where's our other player? There's a second. Oh, I feel like we should have had people already out. There's going to be the trying to go for the point tag. Not going to be the case. The hatch gets closed. I can't help but think that maybe we should have already had our survivors at the gate. If that would have been the case, Quentin would have been able to make it, and instead there's going to be the down.
I mean, this is a really, really important down, right? This hatch close is going to be something that keeps the hope for Aberration alive here for the second try. Otherwise, it would have been really, really tough. But what an end game. Trauma not only smashing it in the entire game here, they are also putting up something till the very, very last second here, and that is going to leave some impression onto Aberration regardless of what the exact score is going to be. So Trauma opening with a 17-12 here and taking 17 points as a Survivor team against the so-called S-tier killers. That's something we don't see that often.
Yeah, that was, I mean, just really able. It was so exciting. I feel like seeing the for the people plays, and especially when they happen to work out the way they do. I mean, you understand not going for the injured survivor because you're like, you know what, let me go ahead and go for the tunnel. But if you would have been able to get the injured survivor, that's an easy fresh hook too, right? So it's the decision that you force on the killer. And then in that case, they try to go for the tunnel out, aren't able to find it, kind of got lucky with the hatch play. If we're being perfectly honest, I feel like when we heard that door open as the decisive strike came out, if all 3 survivors get out the door there, that hatch is open by the time that there are survivors on the hatch. So maybe could have gotten out with a little bit more. Might have worked out in Aberration's favor. So right now, Aberration has to kind of maybe take that as a little sign of let's take that as a win and come out on our survivor side, and we need to pick it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think important is to mention that what you just said with the end game, right? That worked out in their favor, but in fact it was a mistake by Trauma. And I feel like that's what you don't want to rely on. You don't want to rely on mistakes from the opponent team. So important for Aberration in trial number 2 is going to be that they control the game because of their own strength and their own performance, and not, I mean, it's okay if they force the killer of Trauma into some mistakes and into some wrong decisions. Definitely that's what you're trying to do, but primarily you need to decide what's going to happen in trial number 2 here. So that's going to be a challenge for Aberration to pick up here. We're going to find out if they're going to get this done. Trial number 2 after a quick break. And we are back with the second trial on Rackers Yard here. Spirit between Trauma and Aberration. Trauma now after a fantastic Survivor game playing the Spirit, and there's Shaggy on the truck here, and this is going to be the first chase running, so that's going to be an easy track and a hit. Sloppy Butcher coming out here, so that's going to be a lot of indirect pressure by forcing longer healing and reset times. So that's an interesting choice here. Also no Hex Ruin either, so we do see that Whistle is coming out as confident as Boleta did. We have to see if that's going to work out, but that's a really, really nice down here. Not even 60 seconds into the trial, so Trauma definitely with the start they were looking for.
Yeah, really good start here as far as on the killer side. You talk about you got yourself a down. It's going to be a hook that's kind of on the edge of your corrupt side of the map, right? Also, at this point here now, you had mentioned you're not really relying as far as any, oh, I was going to say any ruin, but we actually see getting quickly into a chase with the Dwight. So already going to be requiring one additional survivor to have to get off of a gen, not be progressing those, which means honestly kind of helps you as far as your objective within itself. Also going to be seeing onto this generator here 25% instant regression thanks to that pop goes the weasel. We do also have this generator across the map though. That thing's knocking, that thing's about to be popping here. That's going to be at least generator number 1, but I don't know if we're going to be seeing another generator too soon.
Yeah, this is really, really tough now, right? Because the person that was supposed to rescue here has been tagged very early. So now you have an injured survivor and the hook. You do get generator number 1 out of the way, but we also spotted someone there in the open. So this survivor is kind of pinpointed there on the edge map. So this leaves one survivor who can be active on the generators. The injured survivor over there is in the corrupted area. So that's going to be free pressure for Wizard, and also the information that he can just leave the hook as the second hook stage is going to come through. So this is going to be tough, right? Because comparing this to trial number 1, where the killer also tried to go for the 3v1, I feel like the elimination is already a lot closer and a lot more realistic than in the previous one.
Yeah, I would agree. I think right now Wizzle definitely has a really good control over this game. We even see while we were in the middle of our phase, we were actually going for one of our survivors that was in the TNL. We had actually seen the unhook, so instead come back and double back for the actual tunnel out itself. I mean, we even see Nia kind of trying to do the edge map Anderson thing, but that also allows for Wizzle to not have to worry about the borrowed time, right? So yeah, you take the down here, and even if it is a decisive strike, honestly, with only 4 gens, or with 4 gens still up, only 1 gen pop, even if that was a decisive strike, you eat that no matter what, right? It's easy.
You just picked that. You feel really good in that moment. They're waiting also for the pain resonance there. So, oh man, this is tough, right? Now you have just 2 more stages you can hand out here. So this is going to be also the Mind Ace with the triple quadra vault. What a gaming here from Ace. Takes the hit regardless though. And Whistle is just going after the next survivor. The pressure on the generators is now going to drop tremendously as a survivor has been removed from the trial. And if this is going to end in a quick down, then it would be really, really tough. So therefore really important that Aberration survivor is going to be dominant in the mind game here with Whistle. That's going to be the pop kick, however, and we do see Bill on a filler pallet, but Whistle is going to force a mind game. Now going into the face walk, and this is going to be a beautiful hit onto Boletar here, who just played the killer for Aberration. So Marco getting the reset, that also means that he was not on a generator, potentially the Dwight being around here. So Whistle also gets the needed information right now.
Yeah, and you talk about at this point in the game, and especially since we've already, exposed the build, you got the combination of the Scourge Hook and the Pop Goes the Weasel. You don't mind if you over-invest time in one chase a little bit here, right? Because even if there is a good amount of progress on a gen, you get that hook, especially if you happen to be close to one of those Scourge Hooks, you get that regression there, you go over, you kick it with the pop, and then you're just right back to where you're at. So right now you're kind of vibing, especially with being, I think at this point, what, 1 hook away from meeting our win condition? Would that be right?
Yeah, it's 1 more. I think it depends on how many fresh hooks we do see here. So definitely if he gets another kill, for example, that would be the GG 100% here. And that's, I mean, that's not far away, right? We are still having 3 generators here, so Whistle is coming out so dominant here, playing out his entire experience. We do see the chase being taken around this filler pallet. We actually take the entire phase here, and that's going to be a whiff onto the ace. Nice fake, but unfortunately not going to bamboozle Whistle here. So this is going to be the down. Hook stage number 4 coming in across the way. That's also going to be another value of the Scourge Hook here. So this is going to be some value here. We do see the sloppy butcher. That's going to be difficult for Boletar. Are you going for a reset or not? You kind of have to. On the other hand, you can't, right? And there he is already getting located. So this is going to be the down, and now Whistle already going on a slug here. So he even looks forward to ending this in a 4K with 2 gens up.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like that Wizzle is trying to come out here and definitely start things off on the right foot, right? I mean, we had talked about really the need to come out here in set number one, make sure that you set the pace. And yeah, even though you're talking about with the win, and even though we're talking it being a set-based scoring, not a collective scoring, the still overall collective score of set number one, the wider that margin is, like it definitely feels better moving into set number two, right?
Yeah, I mean, you need to win set number one, right? That's what we discussed in
Right.
Campfire Chat. We didn't say Whistle come out and destroy everyone. Like
Right.
Whistle is adding it on another level right now, especially if he gets this 4K right here, like with his slugging and his very aggressive playstyle here. This is not winning set number one. This is just putting it on 3 levels above what we expected here and what Aberration also expected here. So this would be just huge. He does get a quick down onto the Survivor here. Both of them injured. So if they go for a reset, it would be a ton of time. On the other hand, it would be difficult to just hop on the generator. So Ace is going for the reset here with the medkit. That's going to be a little bit quicker. Bill is staying injured. Needs to be really, really careful what he's doing. With Ace being so close here and able to pull immediately, they might make a move to struggle a little bit free here.
Yeah, I mean, you love to see the fight, at least, right? I feel like it's something where at this point on the Survivor side, even if you can just get some stages out with the early elimination, you feel like it's a little bit of a moral victory, which I feel like is very important, seeing as you start number two on the Survivor, set number two on the Survivor side, right? So you don't want to, as you said, if you walk out with the 4K, it's more of a, hey, we got to stay collective. Whereas if you can take the moral victory of, hey, we at least got one out, let's make sure that we don't make the early mistake and we'll be perfectly fine in set number two. So that decision, that discussion, right, between sets looks a little bit different, whether it's a 4K or whether you get a couple out. So you love to see the fight here from our survivors.
Yeah, and I think that is what Aberration needs, right? Because set number one is lost, so you do need to prepare for set number two, but the preparation starts in the end of set number one and not when we are leaving this trial here. So now potentially working towards the last generator, getting someone out of the door here and not allowing what Whistle is trying to do, denying that the aggressive playstyle is leading into a 4K. That's still a success and that's a moral victory for your team. And that's what Aberration needs to fight for right now. It's going to be our survivor here caught behind the truck. Phase walk is available, just this pallet here in kind of the corner. It's going to be dropped, so Bulletar going to be in a mind game with Whistle, and he does work out for now. Nice patience there on the pallet as well. So this is going to be another phase walk, and if he stays dominant with the mind games here, one more time unfortunately going down here, but that might be generator number 5 if they double up in the distance.
Yeah, this is going to be big though, because the other thing that's important we have to keep in mind is where's our Scourge hooks, right? Because when we're in this 3v1 sort of scenario here, when you get that Scourge hook and you can come right over and pop whatever gen that just gave you that information, is pretty big. I didn't happen to notice if we did get that Scourge value there or not, but I mean, we do see again Ace trying to set up for, it looks like a oh no, it's not the Ace setting up for a quick save, it's actually the Dwight moving in here, gets us the save. So we have all 3 survivors back into play here. I couldn't quite tell if we were able to get any information as far as which generator had the most progress. It does actually even look like Whistle's been trying to look around, try and figure out the same thing. You'll notice down the bottom right hand corner that pop is still available, goes for a swing at the pallet. Did hear someone over here recently, not sure who that was. I'm guessing since there's no pools of blood, it must have been the Dwight. Not going to be finding the connection here. This is going to be big though. You'll notice down the bottom right hand corner, pop is now expired. That's 25% that you could have applied to any gen, now gone.
Yeah, it's the question if Whistle is also maybe a bit too confident right now, right? Because if you should still make the most out of your resources here. And yeah, he had a good pressure over Aberration. Yeah, he had everyone injured and slugged. But it's tricky because Aberration is fighting and Aberration is doing a wonderful hello, Ace running into the corner. Unfortunately, not going to work out here with the hiding. But even here, he's going into the map corner. That's going to be as much time wasted as possible here. So our Dwight and our Bill are teaming up on the generator. And I think what we can see here, this is the right ideas. Even though they are not going to execute it potentially here and maybe they're getting 4K'd, Aberration had the right ideas and the right answers to Whistle's pressure, and I do think they're putting up a really good fight here.
Yeah, and I mean, we do also. I mean, we're also like, I feel like almost overlooking the fact that we could still have an end game sort of play here, which would be big. I actually think one of our survivors is fresh. Would that be right?
Yeah, I think so. Don't.
Yeah, don't hold me to that, but like I think we could be. I mean, either way, if you talk about points, we know. Okay, no, they've both been hooked once, but either way, with both of them being hooked once, either of them getting out via the hatch, it's a pretty decent point swing. And when you talk about the moral victory, even though the actual first set's been decided, that's still something that you can carry over into set number 2, which is going to be big because they're going to need that.
Yeah, I do hope for Aberration that either generator number 5 or an endgame play is going to be successful here, because that's really what they are known for and what would really help them for set number 2 here. On the other hand, Whizzle would deserve a clean 4K here. He came in dominant with the correct predictions. He was putting the pressure down, so he would deserve a clean 4K here, and that would something that puts Trauma in a really good spot here. Another really strong phase on this pallet. So Bolita is going down. Going to be interesting what Outright is going to do. Not going to be the easiest task to stay hidden here, as he is injured. And we do see that there's going to be some value from the Scourge hook. Now he's also cleansing a totem. So next to taking care about a potential know-it in the end game, we do farm some blood points there for the statistics. But
Inner healing too he had, so he might be trying to heal
Oh,
up so
inner
he doesn't give
healing,
himself
yeah.
away. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been the next thing I would have mentioned. I definitely didn't oversee that. Thank you for the correction there. But then we do have a chance, right? And even though Whizzle is predicting the right... oh, yeah. Oh, this was something I have not seen coming here.
Wow, that was
That was
impressive. That was some game sense to it. I don't know if it was... I don't know if maybe we had the pain residence that was on that gen that made Whizzle think someone was over here. And then you come back and you had just heard the grunts maybe. I didn't happen to see if they were the one that if there was anything else that would have. Man, that was impressive though. Like literally like right on top of it. Like that was, we'd seen a couple of hits like that from Whizzle earlier though, where it's just like you go into phase, and sometimes you'll see spirits where it's like they phase, but you come back into phase and they're like in front of them, but like Whizzle doesn't see them. They're like literally on top of whoever they're trying to phase. It was impressive.
Yeah, I mean, this last phase there was... I think this last phase was a good summary of Whistle's Spirit performance, because yeah, there was the pain resonance which we mentioned, but Dwight moved quite a bit, so it requires a ton of game sense to find this, and then millimeter perfect phase onto that. So was a good summary of set number 1, and I think that's showing us that Trauma is taking the first set point here. Really well deserved over Aberration with a 45 to 20, so more than double of the points. Now, we mentioned Clown is a good pick for Aberration. They took a well done point difference against Golden Wolves last week, but coming from a 45 to 20, how do you make that work?
I think the big thing I think you have to sit down here and say, hey, you know, there are some mistakes that were made, but also not just that, but like we happen to lose to what was a very good survivor performance from Trauma, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with sometimes acknowledging that, especially heading into the next set, because you mentioned this is a set that they did very well on against a strong team last week. So if you can kind of recall back to that and say, hey, let's do what Trauma just did to us on Spirit, let's do that on Clown here. We're evened up, but at least momentum's on our side now, you know?
Yeah, that's a good way. That's a good way to think, and I wouldn't even be surprised if Aberration uses their time out here and takes a few extra minutes and be like, hey, okay, set number 1 was rough. We have a plan, but we need to discuss it through. We want some additional minutes. So I would totally understand if the timeout is being called here by Aberration, because that's going to require some adjustments on the team performance there. I mean, we have seen the right ideas. They just didn't have the time because Whizzle was too oppressive there. So Trauma did a fantastic job there, and it's going to be really interesting if they are able to maintain that throughout set number 2. Therefore, guys, we are switching it to Grim Pantry. It's going to be the Clown on that map, and we're going to catch you straight after a short break.
All right, let's go ahead and take another trip on back into the fog here. Starting off set number 2 between Trauma and Aberration here. Going to be seeing Whistle back out on the killer once again, this time on the Clown here. And we do see it working our way around main. Actually, yeah, able to find ourselves. Oh, this isn't main. This is actually pantry. And we are able to find ourselves an Ace here. Well, hello, buddy. We do see, though, that Ace is able to retreat to the basement. This first chase is going to be big because you would like to, you know, kind of prolong this first chase, but you also don't want to start creating dead zones on this map either, right?
That is very true. Your first mistake of the day by Whistle, though, not playing puddles. That also goes to all the comp players in general. I would really appreciate seeing that. But we do go into the main building here, so this is going to be a rough spot for the killer, usually really strong on the Grim Pantry. Whistle is committing to the chase, though, is confident that he does get this survivor down quickly. Nice bottle here over this pallet, and there we do see Zarina coming in to take a hit. Now is the question, is Ace vaulting? And he does, so Zarina rotated all the way from the active generator towards the main building, and Whistle aggressive once again, going for the slug and trying to get another tag onto the survivor. He unfortunately not going to work out. That was really optimistic there.
Yeah, it was.
Zarina lost some time. We see that actually only one survivor is working on a generator here, so even Whistle doesn't get the hook immediately because he tried to go for Zarina. Survivors are not with the highest pressure either.
Whistle,
but he's
outside. He's a ninja.
No way.
He's vanished. No way. Yeah, this is gonna be big here. Now, of course, this does mean that it's gonna require. I was gonna say, if they're not found by Whistle, it would require a survivor to get very much the edge map to be able to get the pickup here, right? We do see, though, we've got someone close. They were there with the beamer just in case they were able to get the save. Not going to be the case. What that does mean, though, that whole time while they were down and looking for that slug, I don't think the Atom was working on any of the objective here. So that is going to be a little bit of extra help when we talk about as for Whistle, because of course when we talk about the Clown, like a lot of our M1 killers, they do traditionally tend to struggle a little bit here in the early game.
Yeah, the struggle in the early game is something important to mention, right? And Whistle managed to work around that. We are still on 4 generators right now, so that's also a good sign for you as a killer. There's Zarina once again trying to wait with the sprint burst with a distant killer. Not the best one because he can just throw the bottle onto you, and this is what Whistle does really good here. And he does turn around and hit a survivor in his back there. So, and also this survivor who's using the main building here. So 1 bottle for 2 survivors, and this is going to result in an injury here as well. So both injured survivor now also running towards the active generator. Whistle doing a good job with the zoning here. 1 generator is lost in the mid part. Nice bottle here. This is another tag. So Aberration now really starting to shine with their teamwork here, and if they manage to prolong this chase for a little bit longer, and we see generator number 3, potentially number 4, they're going to be in an amazing spot here.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing a very good job of throwing these bodies in between the injured survivor that is, you know, attempting or was trying to avoid being tunneled out from the Clown. So one, it is slowing down this chase, and yeah, we might see generator number 3. There's the unfortunate down as far as at this point, and with the down being over here in the pantry, it will allow Whistle to put this hook a little more central, which could be big. We do see, though, we've got the main building gen around 85%. We also had that generator over at the docks itself pretty far along as well. The one thing that we might need to be worried about, though, is if those, I think those are 2 of our outskirt gens. I think we might still be playing into a little bit of a 3-gen scenario here.
Yeah, it's a tough one, right? But it's still, you can still make that work, especially when you get the pressure down onto these survivors. That's 2 and 2, and then you can chain one of these edge generators together. This is going to be Zarina with nice patience, but it does get overextended into a down here. Nice mind game by Whistle into a confident swing. So is around here. So is that slaps him with the P? Is that going to be something you can say here? So this is going to be rough, right? But this is a chance for Aberration Q. This is something they can turn into their favor. There's generator number 4. They might see the end game coming out really soon.
Yeah, the one thing they do need to be wary of, though, you'll notice that we have 4 survivors that are injured all the way around. Of course, the Clown with their ability to shut down loops. Not a killer that you want to be playing too. Oh, I was gonna say, you don't. Oh, do we see this down? Yeah, before the pallet. I don't think we have anybody around here. There's going to be at least generator number 5 to pop, so our survivors can start working on those gens across the way. As you'll, or not the gens, the doors across the way. You'll see we've actually already got someone on the door, about 50% here. Man, this is tough though. It looks like maybe setting up for a save, which could be tough because of course there is a Noah at play.
It is really tough with the node, right? And we do locate our survivor here, so this needs to be quite a good run, and this is going to be a difficult tile, but nice patience here by our Zarina. Nice patience again, and finding this window here, and this is a triple vault into the down though, but that costed some seconds, and the survivors got the rescue in the distance, and they do get the node for it. So I have to say, Q, looking onto 3 stages here with that early down and the little bit of a mistake in the main building, Aberration really pulled that back here. And even though if Bolded is going onto the hook, which would end in a 6th stage if they are leaving out the door here, I think that is still a performance they can counter on their killer side.
Yeah, but you'll see here where this hook is pretty close to both doors. And of course, you had mentioned earlier, right? The Hex Totem already been cleansed. Now, no, Ed, since you didn't come in with the gin bottle, you are stuck with only 4 bottles within itself. You got to make sure you make them count. I mean, yeah, you've got the extra duration as far as the intoxication, as well as you do have the added help as far as from the hindrance status, right? From that flask of bleach. But I mean, there's one. We've got 3 bottles left. What are you going to be able to get as far as value out of them? We have all bodies here in between the actual unhook itself. We have survivors starting to move. There's one survivor. Nice body block by the ace. I think this is going to be a 4 out here.
Yeah, this is the most organized chaos in the endgame I've seen in a while. That was really strong hit. Why is he going? Yes, he is taking the final hit for a teammate. So 4 out after a very quick down there. What an impressive turn by Aberration. That is going to be a really interesting trial number 4 now. And that is exactly what we have predicted for Aberration on Clown. And I will say, we said they're going to be strong on Clown. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, I mean, I think here was just it was like they took it up to a whole nother level, right? I mean, you said it. We expected them to be good here, but to be able to turn things here, this is big because now if you come out on the killer side, you don't even really need to come out and have like a miraculous 4K or anything, right? You just come out, you have yourself a good game, get like a 2K, 7 hooks is like a great game, really. If you think about it, you carry that momentum then at that point into the Wraith because your survivor side has already got you off on the right foot. You love to see it.
Yeah, it's a really tough game now for the survivor team of Trauma. Feel like Whistle surprised it with a higher performance than we expected on the Spirit, and now Aberration surprised it with a higher than expected performance on Clown. So that's the match of the surprises here, and I'm really hyped for trial number 4. You all should as well. Is it going to be the decision for Team Trauma here, or are we going into the tiebreaker raid because Aberration is putting the pressure down? We're going to find out in a few minutes. Is this going to be the decision here in trial number 4, or are we going into the tiebreakers that we're going to find out on the Grim Pantry with the Clown here? And this is going to be a tough match for Trauma, especially when you drop Shack Pallet 10 seconds into the trial with the first chase here. We can hand out 4 stages max, depending on how many fresh hooks. So 3 stages is going to be what Trauma is aiming for here. And Quentin is going to get stuck on the docks here, is now running towards the main building, but quick hit, quick Shack Pallet out, quick chase, quick everything. That's how you want to start here.
Yeah, off to a really good start. I mean, able to get the mind game here around the... Quentin actually able to make it all the way around here. Really showing some patience here as well with the mind game. Able to avoid the the vault here. This is going to prolong this first chase. We're now sitting what looked like might have been a very quick down. Now extending this chase into that 75, 90. Might not even be seeing this first hook coming in until the corrupt intervention here is off of these generators. This would be big.
And this was a really, really nice mind game by Marco here. Getting the first down, I would say, too quickly into the trial. Speaking from Trauma's perspective here, you do have only 3 or 4 stages to hand out here, so you do need some pressure. We do see that Trauma is doing a good job on the efficiency here, but this was really, really quick. Ace is hiding straight here, and if he gets located, that would be bad for Team Trauma, because then you don't get the free pull, and that is going to be the case. Ace rotating towards the mid here. Hardwell getting the stun and the distance. Now going to be tricky for Marco. Is he going to camp or going to play aggressive? I do think you have a little bit of time here to at least force the second stage.
Yeah, I mean, you do have the time to force the second stage, but the only issue is we already saw 2 gens getting popped off here. We have 3 fully healthy survivors. I mean, when you talk about how much hang time is left here, they could literally just finish these last 3 gens if they separate right now.
Yeah, that's going to be... It's going to be the look at this beautiful triangle over there at the dock. It hurts you as killer, right? You're camping here because you have to, but there's the beautiful triangle on the other side of the map. You would really like to go over there, but I do understand the decision with the second stage here, because you do also have the no one escapes death in the back pocket for the end game. So you do have this 2 stages here. Then get someone in the end game and make sure that you do take the win for Aberration in set number 2 here. Marco now rotating over towards the docks. Does hear that the generator has a lot of progress and actually rotating back, expecting that a survivor is coming over, but it seems like Trauma doesn't worry too much. They're smashing these generators, and I do think if he gets only 3 stages on 1 survivor, Aberration would start to struggle.
Yeah, this is, oh man. It's you understand the back and forth decision, because you understand as far as from our survivors here, like, hey, let's just go ahead and slam out these gens. Let's make them pay for the tunnel out, or the camping of the 1 survivor here, right? But then you put yourself in a position where, because of the results from the first trial, you kind of have to, like, you're putting yourself where you have to play a darn near perfect game from there on out, right? And oh, I don't know, it's just gonna be tough.
Oh, this is going to be the fine on here into the adrenaline here from Team Trauma. Now is going to be the question, do they find the no one escapes death before this survivor would go down? They also have to work around the ruin here, so they need to make sure that they are aware which one is the ruin totem if they haven't found it earlier. But Nia is going to be slowed down, and this is going to be the down. So this is potentially Aberration with the win right here. But Marco is also looking back one more time towards the totem there. I like that he is checking on his no one escapes death here. So this is now hook stage number 4. So he's getting everything in his team really needs here. But Trauma did such a good job on getting the things done, and they do cleanse the ruin right here. So I'm not aware if he gets the 4 stages right here, would that still be a win?
I'm trying to do some quick maths here to kind of think about what that would, oh man, because what that would be, them getting 8 state, no, Trauma, no, if they save here, Trauma wins if they escape now.
They win that.
This is for everything here. You've got the double players coming in. You're trying to set up, make sure you got the borrowed time here. Of course, you've got the one. You've also got a fresh survivor between you and the Nia. The donor's right there. This is Trauma. Gonna be able to get the 3 out, I'm pretty sure. There's no way.
No way, they're actually pulling that. That is the 4 stage with the last fresh. They are going to move out. 1, 2, 3. They made it happen in Trauma. Last second decision in trial number 4. They are taking the win over Aberration with a 2-0 in week 2 here. What an end game, and this was potentially one of the closest decision we have seen in a long while.
Oh, is it? Okay, hold on. Okay, it is by a point. At first I saw it come across as 28 or 20. I was like, there's no way this is a tie, is it? No, you're right. That you're good. That's crazy. Talk about a crazy comeback in the end game there. I don't even know how to explain what we just saw.
It is the one fresh difference, the 1 point. And this is, a lot of people sometimes say 3-2-2 DBDLeague. Is that even gonna matter? Yeah, it does. In these cases, when the teams are really basically scoring the same in the match, when we're talking about the number of hook stages, it does matter who has taken the work to get an additional fresh hook. And this was, in this case, Trauma here with Whistle playing so aggressive and putting the pressure down. It paid out here, but now is the question. For Aberration, you're coming from week 1 so confident. You are trying to put everything on the table in Spirit. You get 4K'd. Now you lose that depressing on your pick. How do you move into week 3?
Well, I think this is the important thing that I think every team has to remember every week when you walk away, because we're going to be seeing throughout the season a lot of games like this that even a 2-0 isn't going to quite describe how close the matchup was, right? So you've got to remember that, hey, we're in a league that's literally like the best of the best. We just aren't going to be able to win every week. Unfortunately, this just happens to be one of those keys. I think the big thing is you don't take too much as far as the bad. You take things what you can build on to make sure that you're even better for week 3 here. So I think that's going to be the big thing as far as on their side. As far as for Trauma here, though, got to be feeling good about building up with that first win here in week 2, especially against a team like Aberration, right?
Yeah, for Trauma, it's the start into the season now. They're looking to have last week, so for them it's really good. They have all good reasons to come really confident into week 3. I'm glad Golden Wolves is not playing them in week 3. That would be tough. But yeah, Trauma, fantastic performance here with the 2-0, absolutely amazing. And I do think you're right. Aberration needs to focus on that. They had the right ideas and the good plans. So that is going to be something Aberration can pick here. Very interesting match, really, really great, and we would love to talk to Team Trauma here about this really, really interesting game we have just seen. So we are wrapping up this chat real quick, and we're going to catch you in a few minutes for an